Very latest, Rajini, the pressure now is from Fitch, of all people, on the Republicans in the House and on the President to sort something out on this problem.
That's right. I mean, this is all boiling down to the deadline of October the 17th now, which is when effectively the US will run out of money to pay many of its bills. And so what politicians here are trying to agree on is raising the so-called debt ceiling so that the US can borrow more. And that is really what is focusing people's minds. And that is why Fitch has come out and said that they are considering whether or not they may downgrade the US's credit rating. And they specifically did say that was because, as you say, of the political brinkmanship and the inability for an agreement to be reached. Now, what is happening, though, is there are some signs of movement from politicians here in Washington. We understand that the House of Representatives will be voting later this evening here in Washington on a plan to reopen the government. But we are hearing, actually, in the last 20 minutes or so, that the committee that was down to thrash out some of the details of that bill may have delayed some of its activities, so that could see a delay in a potential vote as well. So as has been happening with this shutdown, things just keep changing by the minute, and as it still stands, the government still remains partially closed, and we still are inching closer, of course, to that October 17th deadline when it comes to the debt ceiling.
Do we have any idea what the proposed deal is from the House of Representatives? We know that the Senate, both sides of the aisle, pretty much agreed a deal, but it was the House Representatives that decided to block that. What is their version of a deal on the table?
Well, as I say, this committee is still effectively thrashing it out, but we have heard some idea of what would be in that. Now, we're hearing that all of the conditions placed on President Obama's flagship healthcare reforms won't be in this, except that they do want to place a condition which would effectively remove subsidies, healthcare subsidies, for staff working for congressmen and senators, which is an interesting one, and one that was likely to be unpopular for those working for the politicians who are at the moment trying to come to some kind of deal. We're also hearing that it would effectively raise the debt ceiling until February of next year. And interestingly as well, this is where it differs from the Senate bill. It would open government, so reopen and end the partial shutdown until December 15th of this year. So not as long as the Senate plan, which was going through to January.
All right, Rajini Vaidyanathan, live in Washington. Thanks, Rajini.